Come on in the room. Good Lord. Come on in the room. Once again, the Bucks with their worst 3-game stretch of the season, worst loss of the season tonight to the Toronto Raptors, 117-111. What in the hell is going on in Milwaukee? Come on in the room. Um I can't do the doc thing right now, so I'm not gonna do it. So we're just gonna do. We are live from the Cream City crossover. It's the Guru Trey Crosby the third.
JT.
Chris King.
This thing stinks, fellas. It stinks to high heavens. If you're smelling a stench, if it's in the air, it is the Milwaukee Bucks. We thought the Milwaukee Bucks had a problem on the road. We thought the Milwaukee Bucks had maybe a problem with injuries. We thought no, the Bucks are stinking it up. It doesn't matter if they're at home, doesn't matter if they're on the road. And I'm very interested in hearing what Doc Rivers has to say about this game tonight, because he's blamed it. So he's blamed the travel crew. He's blamed the players for being in Cabo. He's blamed the assistant coaches. He's blamed the training staff for not pulling guys. He's blamed everybody. So now a 117-111 loss to the Toronto Raptors. I wonder who he's going to blame today. Get at us at the Twitter at TCIIESQ. Hey, chat. What up, chat? We'll talk about it in the chat as well. 117-111. The Bucks lose to the Toronto Raptors. And let's get right into it. A game recap sponsored by who?
The law office of Daly M. Johnson. When you need defense off the court.
When you need defense off the court, and the Bucks need it off the court, but they need defense on the court too. Again, we'll get into it. The Bucks can't guard a soul. I mean, Chris Milton can't guard a soul. Malik Beasley can't guard a soul. Pat Connaughton can't guard a soul. Bobby Portis can't guard a soul. Dame Lillard can't guard. They can't guard a soul. So let's get into the law office of Daly M. Johnson, that we can at least get some defense off the court, because he's giving you criminal defense. He's giving you traffic and OWI defense. You ain't trying to be like your homeboy Pat Mahomes Sr. You need that defense off the court, because I don't know what the hell that mugshot. That man was looking crazy. TROs and injunctions. The law office of Daly M. Johnson. Get at him. Get in touch with him. 608-893-8370.
7-0.
Check them out at 411 West Main Street, Suite 110, Madison, Wisconsin. Service Central and South Central Wisconsin. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up for free phone or in-person consultation. It's the law office of Daly M. Johnson, as always, giving us the game recap, sponsoring the game recap. Let's get into it. Some interesting numbers all around. Damian Lillard, he ends up with a very nice night, 36, 6, and 5. 10 for 24, so it's 40% shooting from the field, 33%. His second half was very good, and he got to the line. Get this, 14 times to the line, 12 of 14 from the free throw line. Missed a couple free throws. You don't really see that very often from Dame. I think he was. I don't know if he's still the number one free throw shooting in the league, but him and Steph Curry were like percentage points off of each other, and Dame has missed a couple in his most recent games, 12-14 tonight. That's good for 86%. But we'll talk about his game, because even though he had some great moments, it was up and down. It was choppy a little bit for me. The turnovers, how many turnovers did Damian Lillard have? He ended up with 7 turnovers. So again, I didn't know that. That's not a great assist to turnover ratio. 7 turnovers to 6 assists. You negated every assist that you had with 7 turnovers. And these weren't, his turnovers aren't like Giannis. I know we're talking about Giannis. His turnovers aren't like Giannis. They're not charges. They're not a lot of dead balls. A lot of times Damian Lillard's turnovers are live ball, bad pass turnovers. He had one in his backcourt. So again, up and down night for Damian Lillard. Does finish with 36 points. Malik Beasley, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and he got 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He was shooting a tour date tonight. Brook Lopez, 15 points, 4 boards, 6 of 12, 1 of 4. But again, defensively, just out of position and couldn't keep up. He gets benched. 20 minutes. Jay Crowder, 17 minutes tonight, 4 points, 5 rebounds. I mean, you think about it, the Milwaukee Bucks, and this just shows you how out of sorts and out of whack Doc Rivers is right. Doc Rivers is beside himself. Doc Rivers don't know what the hell's going on. 3 of his starters, yes, played less minutes than people on his bench. He is up and down. That lets me know that Doc Rivers is out of answers. Now, again, I know Giannis wasn't there. I know Pat Bev wasn't there, so I know he was a little shorthanded too. But that, like, right there lets me know you don't have the answers. You are trying to find solutions, and you're just trying to throw people in the game because you don't know what the hell to do with that. That's what that lets me. That's a clear indicator when your bench players are starting more than your starters, and sometimes just one, but two guys get benched for basically the entire fourth quarter. Damian Lillard plays the entire fourth, plays 38 minutes. That lets you know he's searching for a win. Damian Lillard plays 38 minutes tonight, coming off a game where he hadn't played in. He'd been off for a week. So you would think that'd be a night where, let's get him some rest. Let's try and ease him back into it. No. We got to play Damian Lillard 38 minutes to Toronto Raptors. So, again, embarrassing stuff. Chris Middleton, 21 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. I mean, Chris was okay tonight. Again, up and down. But, again, I think, to me, that's about what I can expect. That's about as good as I can get from Chris Middleton. If Chris is giving me 21, 5, and 6, hit some clutch shots, too, I don't know that I can. I mean, it's not like this vintage Chris performance, but I don't know if I can ask much more from a guy. If that's his baseline in 33 minutes, 21, 5, and 6, you would think 21, 5, 6 from him, Dame at 36, you would think if you add Giannis to that lineup, that would do something. You would just think. Pat Connaughton, 4 points tonight, 4 boards, 33 minutes. AJ Green, 6 points, 3 rebounds. He was 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 5 and 3. Bobby Portis, 19 points on 18 shots. It wasn't a great night for him. 10 rebounds. Bobby Portis is an idiot. I mean, just straight up bonehead, stupid. Stupido. Idiot. Let me calm. I'm trying to calm down. I can't stand stupidity, man. I can't. He played, and he cost his team tonight. He played like freaking Draymond. He did some Draymond Green level bonehead stuff. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Bobby Portis was embarrassing tonight. That's the word I would use. Danilo Gallinari ran around for 6 minutes. I don't know what the hell. You know how many points he scored, JT?
Probably the same as us and everybody in the comments.
Yeah.
Combined.
Yep. Hey, but he did have one more rebound. He did grab one more rebound.
Okay.
Andre Jackson Jr. tonight, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Andre Jackson Jr., and that can show you the stat line doesn't mean anything. Andre Jackson Jr. made this a game. He put the Bucks back into the basketball game and gave the Bucks a chance tonight. Let's look at Toronto real quick. Toronto, like, their numbers just off the charts. Quickly, 25, 11, and 9. He almost got a triple-double. Gary Trent Jr., 31, 5, and 3. Kelly Olynyk, 12.7 boards. RJ Barrett, 26 and 7 boards. Grady Dick, 10 points, 5 rebounds.
Whoa, what's the aggressiveness on the? What's the emphasis on the last name? What is that?
That's his name.
Hey, I don't know, Chris. That's under review, man. I can't pause him because that's the man's name. But the way
he's up there with Drew Holiday on the Celsius. That's how he sounds.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Man, I'm just reading the man's name. Jordan Noah, 4 points. But yeah, I mean, I really quickly, I think, again, worst loss of the year by far, worst 3-game stretch of the year by far. The first half was so bad. I mean, it was just no effort. Guys going through the motions, and I mean, from top to bottom, everybody looked bad. And then the third, it picked up a little bit, but this, again, we just talked about for a second. The game really picked up when Andre Jackson Jr. inserted himself into the lineup. And again, some of the stuff you saw when Adrian Griffin was here, when he would play Andre Jackson Jr., I mean, it's just instant energy. I mean, the play he had where he almost bounced the ball into the bucket off a rebound like that. I mean, just that's the kind of stuff that you can create when you're active, when you're going for boards, when you're playing hard. And that's what you like to see. And that's why we talk about youth. Like, imagine, and again, he's a raw young player, young talent, so he doesn't have all the necessary skills yet. But imagine like a savvier player who is young and just has that athleticism. Like Chris always talks about, like a Daniel Gafford, like some of these guys, these youth movement players that the Bucks could probably use. And I'm not calling Chris Middleton out. I'm just calling Chris out because he's an older. He looks slow. Like, it's I can't really stay with guy. I'm falling around. The wheels don't work for Chris. And again, some of that goes for somebody else. Brook Lopez is the same kind of way. You need some of that youth, and you see what can be inserted when you have some. Now, Marjan was not available tonight. He had a back issue. But again, I don't know. It's probably too late. 6 games left in the season. I don't think you can insert these guys yet. But you see what happens when you can insert some youth into the lineup and create some juice out. He got the crowd rolling, got the energy. But this game was lost. The game was lost when there were a couple points really. One point where Andre Jackson Jr. created a turnover off of a rebound or something like that, and the Bucks were down 2. Dame Lillard instantly comes down. I mean, it gets the ball back. I mean, that was a big momentum play because the guy fell out of bounds, and Andre Jackson Jr. been working for the rebound. And of course, Dame Lillard, again, he had a good night, 36-5. But that was the play you wanted, and he airballs the 3. Then he comes back and turns the ball over right after that. Then you have Bobby Portis. When Bobby Portis had a moment, I mean, he just had a blunder of Shaq in the full moments. One where he caught 3 rebounds in a row and just point blank layup. How tall is Bobby? 6'10"?
I think that's about right.
You missed the first 2. You missed the first 2, and then airballed the last one.
And then caught it, and then it's a travel. And then the bonehead, stupido play where he just pushes Emmanuel Quickly, excuse me. He pushes. It's Emmanuel, right?
And it was after the whistle. After the whistle had already been blown. What was that? It's out of control. What are you doing?
That's the dumb stuff we talk. Y'all, everybody. I thought it was so stupid tonight. When Ajax basically made a play and Bobby got a layup and everybody started chanting, Bobby. That was Ajax's play, and Bobby just got the rebound. But again, somebody said on Twitter, as long as he does a stupid flex, everybody go, oh, yeah, Bobby Portis. Oh, Hercules, Bobby Portis just did it. Oh, my God, it's Bobby Portis. No, I'm tired of stupid plays. And tonight, it was a dumb play where he had 2. One where he pulls Kelly Olynyk for no reason. Again, this is the end of the game where you need stops. The Bucks were down 4 points this entire stretch, and they couldn't get a stop when they needed it. He pulls Kelly Olynyk for no reason. Then he pushes Emmanuel Quickly down, gets a technical foul. That basically lost the game. It was a real Draymond Green stupid level play. The Bucks just didn't make enough plays down the stretch. And again, this is a very bad team. The Toronto Raptors lost 15 in a row coming into tonight, and they lost their last game by 48 points. They have not won a game until tonight since March the 3rd. They beat a full calendar month. And they come into 5-star form, and they were dancing, they were talking, they were doing all the stuff to the crowd, and props to them because they came in and they punked the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. They win at 117-111. I'm pissed off. I think everybody should be and is. That's what I saw though. JT, what'd you see?
I'm pissed off because I feel pissed on. Right, this week was absolutely terrible. This is an absolutely awful week for the Bucks. There's no explanation from it. We are literally finding our way. We are losing to the doldrums of the NBA right now. Just absolutely atrocious, terrible basketball. Everybody stinks. Right, here we go. So we talk about that first half. You know what? I agree with you. We looked uninspired. We looked unprepared. The thing I was looking for was who was going to step up. Let's make it palpable here to see who's going to step up in Giannis's absence. And from a numbers perspective, yeah, I think Chris went 5 for 7, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Brook didn't want to be a big man. I mean, the numbers in the first half for him ended up better than it really was. I don't know what the hell that was. You see, Dame trying to create at times. I don't know what. I just don't know what Brook was doing. Obviously, Dame 5 for 11, 3 for 6 from 3, 13, 3 and 2 in that first half. You saw it didn't look great, but there was room for it to get better. Third quarter, I gotta give props to Dame, right? Dame, 13 points in that third quarter, exploded. He looked like he was really trying to put the team on his back. And, we get to that fourth quarter. One thing I'll say right now, Andre Jackson Jr., the man has earned his minutes. And you know how he's earned his – every single time he plays, literally, he makes plays. It's not about the stat sheet. And the thing is with Doc, you watch film. You know the stat sheet's only a part of the equation. You can see the impact that Andre Jackson Jr. has on his team, and that man has earned the right to be out there. And if you're Doc, right, or if you're a coach who is marginally competent, you find a way to find minutes for Andre Jackson Jr. You 100% do, because he's only going to get better as he plays. But even now, the way he impacts your team, I mean, that man was that end of that third quarter. That's the spark that you need. And I love watching him, but man, you have got to get minutes for him, got to get minutes for AJ Green. Doc, take the damn red shirt off and turn this man loose. Let him play. We can all see it. All of us can see it. There's no reason why he should have another did not play for the rest of this year. Chris. We talk about Chris. RJ Barrett, guys going to Chris. You've called Chris the Cone. You said, look, he's Chris the Cone at this point. And that's kind of true. And I've said he plays old man basketball. And quite honestly, if he played three-point line at the YMCA, right, I can live with that, even though he had a couple nice mid-range jumpers in there too. Really sad, right, to see him and Dame in foul trouble. I was worried when they both had 5 fouls. Obviously, Dame ended up fouling out. But I'm going to give credit to Dame tonight because I thought he really did try to put this team on his back. Bobby Portis, you know what? Hang on. You've already beat this dead horse. You know what pains me to do is Malik Beasley. Can we talk about your boy Malik Beasley? Malik Beasley right now stinks.
That's your work.
That's my guy, right? And Malik Beasley stinks. He absolutely stinks. And coming from me, because I got to keep it a buck. Terrible, right? Like using the bathroom in a public restroom with the stall open, stinking up the joint at this point. He was 1 for 7 tonight. He was 3 for 10 against Memphis. He was 2 for 13 against Washington. He was 4 for 12 against ATL. He can't if he's not hitting shots, he gives you absolutely nothing out there. And it's just the bottom line. And we talk about, if you send him to the bench. At this point, I am willing to give somebody else another look throughout the rest of the regular season. Man, throw Derry Bird out there, right? Throw a different lineup, throw a different combination. Give somebody else. Let's see what Malik Beasley looks like coming off the bench, because right now he is not helping this team. He was benched tonight. I agree with you with the Bobby Portis bonehead plays. It's almost like, you've been in the league 10 years. What are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? What goes through Bobby Portis's mind where, that foul, the shove on quickly, the tech? I mean, you could damn near argue that helped contribute to us losing the game. I mean, I don't know. And he's a leader, right? Or maybe Bobby Portis isn't a leader. Maybe he's a tough guy. He's an enforcer. Either way, he's got to be a smarter player. That didn't happen. And I can't even put this all on Doc tonight because of the execution. But what I can put on Doc is your team is in a 3-game slump. You're losing to the worst teams in the NBA at this point. You're risking instead of locking up a 2 seed, finishing in the 4th seed if things keep going this way and some of the teams behind us pull it together. I mean, Doc, you got to earn your paycheck now. You got to earn your paycheck because Doc, right now, it looks like you need a doctor, sir.
Jaw-dropping loss. Just insane. Like I had no idea. Chill, Trey. I have no idea how they lost that game. It's that team is not good. Like I was watching this game and the Raptors, they should have even been up more because they were making the same mistakes the Bucks were making, same goofy turnovers. But where I think this game was won for them, they had some fluidity on offense. We were so confused. And I want to point out the start of the third quarter when they went up 14, we had no punch. Damian Lillard's walking up the floor, down 4 after he just turned the ball over a ton of times, missed a ton of shots to make us have a deficit at the half. And he's walking it up the floor, and then they just give it to Chris to ISO. And then he misses 3 straight, turns it over the next time, and then all of a sudden, boom, 14-point lead. So I think that, that's something as a veteran-led team, as a team with a ton of experience, you can't have happen. You can't have the Toronto Raptors, who haven't won in 15 games, playing more fluid offense than you, moving the ball more than you, being more unselfish than you on offense. It's just that's going to kill you every time. Honestly, I don't think the Raptors, they're not that – obviously they're not good, and they didn't even play like it tonight. But the Bucks just played worse. They were worse than one of the most horrible teams in the NBA. So I thought that was big. That was big time that we didn't have any fluidity on offense. Ajax, good minutes from him. Would like to see more, and I'm hoping that kind of tells Doc that he should play more. But I'm just almost speechless at this loss. Like, no reason you should have lost it. Just bonehead mistakes, terrible shots, laziness. Once again, the turnovers from Dame in that second quarter and the missed shots and the looking for fouls too, by the way, that's something that needs to stop. I was very unimpressed. I understand what did he get, 34 or something like that? 36. Okay, the mistakes outweighed the good, I'll tell you that. And this isn't really for me a shot at the Dame stands or anybody that loves Damian Lillard, but I do think that the mistakes tonight outweighed the good, and I think that's a part of the reason you lost the game. And then Doc has to take some blame for not getting that offense more fluid. If Dame comes out of that halftime more aggressive, I think you have a different story.
That's very interesting that you're gonna take the because I'm actually not as harsh on Dame tonight. I agree though. Excuse me, that the seven again we talked about it, six assists, 7 turnovers. That's not good. But he did have some moments, but that's an interesting take that you have there that
Well,
you thought
so
that
let me
Dame's bad
just
moments outweighed the good.
yeah,
Go ahead.
let me just elaborate on that. So you think about it in the second quarter when we finally started to build a lead. I think it was 38-30. Damian
Yeah.
Lillard was out of the game. He comes back in the game, and all of a sudden we are trailing at halftime. And I'm going to point to specific instances where this hurt us. In the pick and roll, he shoots a deep three, misses it off the backboard, and they come down, they score. He shot one. This was new for me. He shot one basically fading out of bounds, tried to shoot it over the backboard. That missed. Raptors came down and scored. He tried to throw a pass. It was stolen. They come down and score. Like those are situations where you just have to take care of the ball as the lead point guard. There's nobody else on this roster that can run the point guard position. And when you're not taking care of the ball and it leads to runs like that, it gives the other team a little bit of hope. And look, they got the confidence they needed to go out and take the dub. So I just think that those mistakes were really important in losing this one.
Well, I do agree that, like I said, the bad moments were definitely bad with Damian Lillard. And yeah, you would think as the point guard, as the guy, remember, not a shot again in his stands, but he's got to have the ball all the time. He's got to run the offense. Well, tonight he definitely got that opportunity, and he gave you 6. I'm just talking about his creation, 6 assists, 7 turnovers. Now, again, not all of that is on him because the roster construction is, again, it's not great. Because so let's just talk about that first half, right, for a second. If I just stop and talk about the first half of that game was Damian Lillard creating, it was Chris Middleton doing a little bit of creating, and then it was Bobby Portis when he finally got in doing some different things. Outside of that, there was no diversity in the offense. It was Dame creating, everybody else was just jacking threes all night long. I mean, three, and the Bucks. What'd you say they shot from three, JT?
12 for 42 tonight. They were 28.6%, which is absolutely terrible. And then in that first half, they were, I believe, 6 for 22, 27%.
And that's the thing. So as long as we talk about, because I saw a comment from Young City, this is not on Doc. You got to diversify your offense. You got to tell Brook Lopez to get down in the paint. Again, I agree. Brook Lopez can only play 20 minutes if you're going to play him like a guard. If you're going to play him like he's a 6'4" guard and have him shoot threes all night, yeah, I think he's not going to play big enough. He's 7 feet tall. He needs to be under the basket at least some. How does Bobby Portis, for the most part, play back to basket 9 times out of 10 when he gets the ball? And Brook Lopez doesn't even get down there. But again, when you talk about this is not on Doc, so who is it? Is it all on the players? 14. Let me just run this down for you. 12 and a half, 12, 14 and a half. You know what I just named? Those were the spreads the Bucks had against the Wizards, Grizzlies, and Raptors. The Bucks are the first team in the last 30 years to lose 3 straight games as outright as double-digit favorites.
Oh,
So again, if you're not putting it on Doc Rivers and you're putting it on a player, all I'm saying is this did not happen before Doc Rivers showed up. The Bucks had one problem before Doc Rivers showed up, really. And again, everybody says the Bucks had one problem: they couldn't guard. Well, that was it. Now they have a litany of issues, and guess what? They still can't guard. Doc Rivers has fixed nothing on his basketball team. Everything has gotten worse. Everything has gotten worse. And at this point, what you're praying for, this is all you're praying for, is that you're gonna put Giannis, Dame, and Chris out there in the playoffs, and you're gonna run them 40, 45 minutes a night, and you're gonna hope that the talent beats everybody. That's all you can pray for at this point. Because I will tell you, and again, all jokes aside, I will say, and again, I know Giannis wasn't there. If Dame puts up 36 on 40% shooting and 30% from three, and Chris Middleton puts up 21 on 56% shooting and 33% from three, Giannis going to give you 30, 35. Now, again, I don't know that all the numbers are going to add up because, who's going to get the ball. But if I'm getting 30, and 20 from my top 3 guys, the Bucks will win. They will more than likely win a lot of playoff games. So that's the hope here, is that's what you're getting. And the hope is that Beasley going 1 for 7. If you ain't shooting well, yeah, you only gonna get 3 shots, buddy, because we're not having it. Bobby Portis, 8 for 18. You're not getting 18 shots, Bobby. That's all I'm gonna say. I need Dame double-digit shot attempts. I need Chris double-digit shot attempts. Giannis double-digit shot attempts. Everybody else get in where you fit in.
Yeah, but here's the problem, right? Like, you talk about like Beasley, you talk about swiping these guys out. Who are you going to replace them with? Because you haven't played a lot of these guys on the bench. You haven't given a ton of meaningful minutes to. So in the playoffs, are you saying we're just going to try something new?
I have no idea what Doc Rivers is going to do. Again, this is Doc Rivers' problem. I have no idea.
I agree with you, and that's exactly the problem. Is it's like, okay, well, if you want to look to the young guys, great, but if they haven't played substantive minutes in months, right? For example, however you feel about him, MarJon, that man has not played substantive minutes, so he's not even a viable option at this point, because people can look at him and say, well, he can shoot and he's long, and he's a defender, and he can do a lot of different things. And we say, okay, when was the last time he did it? Right? Everybody's scratching their head. When was the last time you saw him do it in a couple games in a row? Everybody's scratching their head. Well, he hasn't played. Why the hell hasn't he played? Doc has created this problem because now you got yourself in a situation where you may have questions about your personnel, but you have complete unknowns on the bench because you haven't played these guys. So, man, some of the coaches got to get in Doc's face and like, listen, we cannot have another game where Andre Jackson Jr. does not play at all. I don't care what the hell happens. We cannot let this happen again. And same thing with AJ Green, same thing with these young guys. And I wish we could pound that drum from MarJon, but we really can at this point, because then it's like, when's the last time he actually played minutes? When's the last time he actually played meaningful minutes, right? Like, you put him in garbage. You don't even put MarJon in garbage time, right? You don't even consistently put him in garbage time. So you got a problem, man. And Malik Beasley, he is killing us right now. Malik's got what's her name? Old girl single, Larsa. Larsa's single now. Larsa Pippen, she's single now. Remember, Malik Beasley had that thing going before she met Marcus Jordan, right? Go ahead and see if you can find that number, something. Because right now, yeah, he playing like John McCall, not Malik, right? And I need Beasley to figure this thing out. And
Glorilla's single too, so
no, stay away from Glorilla, right? You see Glorilla going at it with JT from the City Girls. Leave her alone. No, sir.
So I also just think that, like, we saw how much Ajax changed the game. I thought the Raptors out-hustled us until he got in, until he was in there diving for balls, until he was in there getting hands on the blocks. Until he was in there guarding up on Ochai Agbaji or whoever was the challenge, he was chest up and staying in front. And, he didn't care if he got a foul. I mean, he did his best to stay in front. And a lot of times those are better than just Olay. Let him drive by you. Let him get to the rim with ease. And so, yeah, I just think that's a big thing that the Bucks are missing. And it's very evident when you see it in real time.
So let's go to the chat here for 1 second, and I do want to let our listeners and viewers in on some slight behind the scenes stuff, because I saw Mark Gomes says Bucks fired their best coach in franchise history who just won a chip. That's on Horst. Okay, number one, when you say just, we're talking about 2021, so that's getting further and further into the rearview mirror. And I see somebody else said that Karan Jammer says that AG lost Dame, not the locker room. So let me just, I'm going to do a hashtag sources thing here and let me let you in on this. So the guy that you guys think Adrian Griffin was, as far as like locker room presence and people not liking what was going on in the locker room, the guy that actually pertained to was Mike Budenholzer. Because I think one of the words I keep hearing is there was a mutiny in the locker room. There really wasn't. There was one or two guys that had an issue with what was going on with Adrian Griffin. The guy that people really didn't like was Mike Budenholzer. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that when we talk about, hey, somebody had to fire, because I think that's what I always hear is that they had to fire him because of the locker room. The guy they had to fire because of the locker room was actually Mike Budenholzer. he lost an entire, and he didn't just lose one or two people like Adrian Griffin did. He lost an entire locker room. There are a lot of stories that haven't come out about the things that were going on behind the scenes in Milwaukee from Mike Budenholzer's perspective. But that's the only thing I'm gonna get onto the coaching thing when we talk about who should have been fired, who didn't. Now, again, the issues with I'm not even gonna go into, because I don't think it's the appropriate time to talk about, should he been fired and go. I'm not gonna do that, but I'm just saying, like, let's keep some of those things into perspective here. I want to get back onto the timeline, into the chat. King of Kings says Bucks are cooked. Cream City 1846 says they are slow and old. At least with these losses, we now know what the problem is. Brook Lopez, Mr. Glass / No Knee Midi, Washed Up Crowder, Mental Labs Beasley. We about to come out of this slump. So again, okay, so Cream City 1846 at least says he's going to come out of the slump. Decode 123, bruh, at some point the leaders of this team have to step up and say something. Dame and Giannis need to both grab everyone by their neck seriously. 100%. I agree with that too. Tom Merrill says, pretty sad without Giannis on the floor that Raptors actually had more talent. I disagree with that. They didn't have more talent. Now they had more youth, but I think they had more talent. The Bucks are just playing down to competition 100%.
Which is what a lack of that doesn't make any sense at all. It's playing down to your level of competition, right? So who has culpability? Who bears culpability when the Bucks just get out there and lose 3 straight games to the worst teams in the NBA? I mean, this isn't an opinion. It's a fact. Look at the standings. You are losing to the worst teams, embarrassing losses. Who does that fall on?
Well, and that's where I go when Mark Gomes says lack of depth. This ain't on Doc. Again, I can't really go there. If we were losing to the Mavericks, the Suns, the Heat, the Philadelphia, the Boston, if we were losing those type of teams, I go, hey, yeah, lack of depth, guys are in and out of the lineup. All of these teams have guys in and out of the lineup. Do you realize that the first time they had the graphic up, the first time the Bucks played the Raptors, they only had five of the players that played the first time the Bucks played the Raptors were available tonight for the Raptors in this meeting. So again, especially bad teams, they are going through roster changes, injuries, all these different things. They are going through a lot of the same exact things that the Bucks are going through. And again, you can't tell me, it's just go through the names on this roster. You can't tell me that team is more talented. If you just go name for name with the guys that the Bucks had available, you telling me Dame shouldn't absolutely wipe the floor and outplay Gary Trent Jr. and Emmanuel Quickly? You telling me Chris Middleton shouldn't be better than R.J. Barrett? Outside of youth is the only difference. Chris Middleton's a better player than R.J. Barrett, right? You telling me Grady Dick should outscore Pat Connaughton? You telling me Grady Dick should outscore Pat Connaughton? Are you telling me that? That's what I'm saying, though, right? All the talk about Bobby Portis and how good he could start him mostly. You telling me that R.J. Barrett, Gary Trent Jr., who's not really starting on every team he's on, should be outscoring guys like Bobby Portis? I mean, that's what I'm getting at. So again, I think the Bucks do have the talent. They just had to be better, and they weren't tonight. That's where I'm going with it. John Hassel makes a good point here. He says Beasley was 1 for 7, but at least Doc finally cut his minutes down. It's about time. These young kids are much better. Do you think, John, Chris, I'll pass it to you. Do you think that Doc Rivers, at the very least, is learning something? Or as far as who can I play, who can I not play? And I'll preface it by saying this. And again, when Giannis gets back in the lineup, it's going to be different. We have not seen a lot of lineups where Giannis is at the 5, which again has always been the Bucks' best lineups. Giannis at the 5. We haven't seen a ton of it this year. I really think you got to play some small ball and have Giannis just anchor that unit, and then just have guys to sit down and try to guard. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we'll see. Do you think the Doc is learning? Because we've seen Brook Lopez not close out games. We've seen Malik Beasley getting, sitting down. Jay Crowder plays 18 minutes tonight. Is he learning? Is he going to actually tap into this youth movement headed to the playoffs? I know it's kind of late, but as they say, better late than never.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
You know he's not going to do that. I do not believe. I just don't believe in sitting here and trying to tease these people and say, yeah, Doc's going to play these young guys. Man, absolutely not. Right now, he should. He 100% should play these young guys because they've earned it, and you're seeing that you might need them. You said this a little bit earlier, the strategy that we may run in the playoffs where we just have Chris, Giannis, and Dame playing over 35 minutes a night. and potentially Brook too. Man, I do not know about that. Right, I just think that is a lot. That is a lot to say. We're gonna run our horses and we're just gonna keep running our.
Dame played the whole second half tonight, so
Yeah,
I mean that's all you got, really.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the only it's to me it's knowns versus unknowns. I know what I got in Chris, Giannis, and Dame. Well, really, I'm almost like I know what Pat Connaughton is gonna bring. I know what some of these guys are gonna bring. I don't know that you can do it any other way because I feel like I know that if we try to play against the playoffs, you got to play in the playoffs. And if you get hurt, you get hurt. We got to get guys out of here, get some younger bodies in. But you don't have a chance. To me, you don't have a chance without that.
So here's my next chance. And here's my next thing, right? You saw how well Andre Jackson Jr. played tonight. Perfect example. You saw how well Andre Jackson Jr. played tonight, right? You want to – how much of your 401k are you willing to bet that Andre Jackson Jr. plays more than 10 to 15 minutes – plays 10 to 15 minutes on Sunday against the Knicks? Because he could very well be a scratch. He could very well be a scratch on the Doc, right? So my point is that no, Doc doesn't learn. I don't think he learned. I think Doc is stuck in his ways. I think he's slow to change. And again, like we said earlier in the show, Doc is putting himself in this box to where you're only going to have X amount of known commodities because you haven't given the young guys any run. And so when it comes to getting different looks, you're even more reluctant to do so because now the first time you're trying to give this guy substantive playing time, it's now in the playoffs where the stakes are much, much higher than a random game in March or February when you had ample opportunity to do so. The problem I see with Doc at this point is you have completely abandoned player development. 100%, which is crazy, right? Because Giannis is one of the best stories of player development in North American sports that we've seen in the last 40 years, right? I'm just talking about from a franchise perspective. But Doc's completely abandoned player development. He doesn't believe in that. And for some reason, I don't know. It takes a desperate situation or a random situation for Doc to really give the young guys some run. And that's an issue because our young guys are assets. But they're unknown at this point because you haven't used them. I'm frustrated. I am off the Doc train. I'm 100% off the Doc train. I get that we'll say he has an off season and this and that, but I don't know if that changes his thinking. Because at this point, I think Doc is going to keep. There's a level of hubris you have here where I'm gonna keep doing it this way because this is the way we've always done it. And that's exactly what I think when you say Doc Rivers. So when you ask, is Doc changing? Is Doc finally getting subscribing to the young guys? Absolutely not. You know he's not subscribing to the young guy. You already know what it's going to be.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I think Doc – I mean, this is based off of nothing, but I think Doc would be scared to place a young guy heavy minutes or like good minutes in the playoffs because if they're the downfall, then he knows it's going to get back on him and come back on him. So I think Doc is probably just scared to give these guys runs for no reason, by the way, because AJ Green's had a ton of experience in the league at this point in his career, and Andre Jackson Jr. has proved that he can play. But yeah, some Sixers fan commented on one of our videos and said, yeah, our issue with Doc was he didn't play the young guys in the playoffs and stuff like that. So I wouldn't expect him to change or bank on him changing and just giving young guys minutes, even if they should.
And maybe he doesn't. I tend to agree with you, but again, I think you said that, or JT or Chris, one of you said that he doesn't want to. Maybe it was you, Chris. He didn't want to be saddled with, hey, if I play young guys, I don't want to lose like that and get blamed when And I do understand that line of thinking, but he's gonna get blamed regardless. You can get blamed regardless. You can get blamed. You play old guys, young guys. I don't know. We'll see how it kind of works out, but I'm very, very, very concerned with this basketball team. One of the questions we ask here as we keep moving along this program is, are the Bucks in trouble? And so let's take this from a micro level tonight effort, things happening against the Raptors, to a macro level. And let's see, how does this go? What does this mean for the Bucks as they head into the playoffs? We're about 5 or 6 games away. You are 1 game ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Orlando Magic lost tonight, so you are still 2 games ahead of them. You're 2 games ahead of the Knicks, who lost the other night. So again, the Bucks basically need like 1 or 2 wins coming up here, and you're gonna play the Knicks coming up. So in theory, what can happen on? I believe this is Sunday. On Sunday at 7:00 Eastern, the Bucks are gonna play the New York Knicks at home. A loss there if you lose to the Knicks at home, the Bucks would have lost 4 games in a row. We could actually start to talk about whether or not the Bucks, forget the 2 seed. If they lose to the Knicks, they will really, because right now I don't know how much danger they're really in because they just need 1 or 2 wins here. They could really be in danger of falling to that 4-5 matchup. And I think, and here's why I think you really want that 2 seed. I know we talked about wanting to play the best teams here, it doesn't matter who's Indiana, Miami, Philly, doesn't matter. We talked about that a little bit. You don't want to face Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals. That there's just no way around it. So you cannot fall to 4 or 5. There is no way you want to fall to that 4 or 5 spot. So let's look macro. Are the Bucks in trouble? And I'm not even just talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about the rest of these next 5-6 games. Like, do you think that it's just like this is the thing? The Bucks don't get up for these games. Got to play against bad teams. They didn't, or I mean, because we have seen them play the Oklahoma City's tough, the Denver's tough, the teams where you know that Joker's coming in your building. You got to. I'm just curious. Do you think this is just hey, they just for whatever reason aren't showing up for these games, or do you think that we see something different on Sunday and moving forward? I mean, what do we think is gonna happen? And again, is it over? Is it? I mean, are you just done? Like I'm trying to figure out like where are we at? What's up with these guys?
It's not over, but it's not over by any stretch of imagination, but they're in trouble. No. Mark everybody. There are glaring deficiencies with this team. There are glaring deficiencies with this team. We've talked about how Doc has not fixed anything. You have some issues, right? Age is one of them, and see, age is scary to me when you're analyzing a team because it shows when it shows later on in the season. Nobody was worried about this team being old in December and January, really even February. Once you get about 75 games and you see, oh, man, they look tired. They look worn out. They're here. They're very top heavy. Yes, your big 3 are great in Giannis, Chris, and Dame. But your depth, you have a ton of talent on the bench, but can you even call it depth if 1, Doc's not willing to play the talent, 2, the talent is marginally developed at this point, right? Like then, like you said, we can't defend, and we haven't been able to defend all year. See, earlier this year we could get away with not defending because what did I say the best defense was?
Another made 3.
Exactly, but that doesn't count. That doesn't matter when you're going 12 for 42. That don't matter when you shooting that, right? We have a major significant issues here. We got depth problems. We can't play defense. We can't figure this thing out. Yes, we're top heavy. We got age issues. Oh, no. And not to mention one of our big 3, call it how you see it at this point, is a tad injury prone, right? So we really don't know. I pray that he stays healthy for the entire playoffs, right? But in my mind, am I confident that he will? I don't know, right? Then, not to mention, outside of our big 3, we got Brook. Brook's not a young spring chicken either. And Brook's game at this point is wildly inconsistent. And Brook wants to play YMCA ball. He's 7 feet. He's 7 feet. He's a bruiser. He can get down in the middle and push people around. But what's he want to do? He wants to stay out there 30 feet away from the basket and just hit threes, right? Not even jumping off the ground. He was a set shot when you stay on your toes. Right. That's kind of what Brook's out there doing. I mean, we're in trouble. There's no question about it. And I think some of this might be able to solve if the players want to start taking accountability. If Giannis and Dame want to get in there and start choking fellas out, like, listen, this is what we're going to do, and start having that consistent message and holding people accountable. But Doc as well. Doc has to be open to change because right now Doc is determined to do the same thing he's been doing the whole time and live with whatever results come with that.
I tentatively say yes, and here's why. I think we've seen the highest of highs with this Bucks team. I'm talking about beating the Celtics by 40 points. I'm talking about coming off the All-Star break going 6-0 with a win over the Nuggets. I'm talking about being 30-13. And having a level of consistency and winning against bad teams. But you've also seen stretches like this where you go on obviously not this trip, but you go on the road after that 6-game win streak and you only win one of them or whatever it was out west under Doc. You have dropped 2 straight games at home against bad teams, and you lost to the Wizards in 3 games. And you're playing your worst ball of the season at the end of the season. So I just think that the inconsistency of this team could come back to bite them. But that could also mean that they right the ship and then all of a sudden they're playing great basketball in the playoffs. So that's why I say tentatively. But look, you're playing your worst ball at the end of the season. That's not a good look, especially losing to these bad teams, because you get in the playoffs, not a lot can save you if you have 3 bad performances in a row. So.
No, not a lot can at all. Doc Rivers in his presser tonight said, even one of the officials said it, man, you can feel the heaviness of your team right now. I don't know what that means. I don't know the comments under that said, isn't that your job to fix? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. It does feel like that. It does feel heavy. It feels like you're in a, these are teams that you should feel like you should be able to just easily take care of, and you're not able to do it. Now, the counterpoint to that you're not, Chris, you said you're not playing your best ball right now, headed into the playoffs. Counterpoint is I have seen the Bucks play their best ball headed into the playoffs, and I've seen that not mean a damn thing. So I have seen it. I feel like I'm hoping against hope, because again, we talked about it. Like everything we talked about in this show is just so crazy how, again, and people can say we don't like you ever play basketball. Everything we say on this show seems to come a little true. We talked about how we're going to react to these losses, how it's supposed to look at the All-Star break, and now you are starting to see fan base, everybody, and it's the funny thing to me though is the players, and especially when we talk about how the perception was on the basketball team from early in the season when they would lose a game here and again. They didn't lose many because they were winning at a 70% clip. Hey. But the perception, I'm just saying, the perception when the Bucks were losing then was like end of the world, Bobby Portis going crazy in Vegas, like all of that stupidity that was going on. And it's so funny to me, the games should matter more now at the end of the year when you need to be fine-tuning to get into the playoffs. And it's so funny. I don't hear none of that sense of urgency. Everybody, and Doc Rivers said it, and Doc Rivers said the only person mad about these losses is me. I don't know how true that is, but it's funny that, and I think some of it is, like I said, sometimes as told by Ginger, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. You can't, because that's the thing, you can't fire 2 coaches in the year. So when you act a fool in the middle of the year, when you lose a game, that you lose once every at a 70% clip, and now you're 15-15 in your last 30 with Doc Rivers at the helm. You can't act the fool. Doc Rivers has lost more games than Adrian Griffin and Coach Les. You can't
with the same squad. With virtually the same squad, and I would argue a better squad, because the getting rid of Campaign and then turning around and getting Patrick Beverley, you did see some immediate value for a few weeks after that trade.
And we talked about it. You can't even run the excuse of, well, it was a schedule. Again, so that's another thing that has to at this. Can we officially say we debunked that? Can we officially say we debunked the only reason Adrian Griffin won games was because of the schedule? Like I think we can debunk that. That has been debunked, right? That's a lie. Survey says that's a lie. You lie. You lie. No, y'all lie. Y'all lie. You lie. You're a liar. You lie. Tired. I'm just saying, because, and again, I don't take any. I don't want. I'm really not taking a victory lap. I'm not trying to. Because again, I've always said I want the Bucks to win every game. I want to win every. I wish the Bucks were 30-0 in Doc Rivers' tenure. I wish I could say, man, I was wrong. But and the funny thing is, I get on social media every day, and people say, why can't you just admit? Why can't? Because the fool 15-15. What the hell am I admit? Why would I admit? You just say you're wrong. Why would I say I'm wrong when the motherfucker? Oh, why would he 15-15? Why would I say I was wrong? I wasn't. Like, stop telling. I'm so sick of people telling me I was wrong. Y'all are stupid, man. Like, stop. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating getting on and having people tell me about how dumb I am. When the guy, okay, well, this is what you want to do here. Let's hear. How's it working out? It's not. And so again, I'm not saying it's over. I don't want to go there to that route, but I'm just saying that at this point, give it up, man. The Bucks made a mistake. They made a mistake. They should have fired him.
Well, they did. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious they didn't. And again, and the next question I have is even if you would have, what were you expecting Doc to do? To come in mid-season and just fix everything and take over this team? And well, the funny thing is, yes, that's exactly what they were expecting Doc to do, was to just come in and fix everything with this squad, not needing an offseason, barely practicing with the team the first 3 weeks, and they expected Doc to come in and fix things. And to Doc's credit, we saw probably an 8-9 game stretch where we were like, wow, this team looks really good, right? This team is rocking. But let me ask you guys this question, and I'll pose this question to our listeners as well. I really do think, because I'll tell you my answer. I think Sunday is a must-win game. And the reason why I think Sunday's a must-win game is it's not even about seeding. You're in quicksand right now. Any way you put this thing, you are in the quicksand. You have got to get out of it, right? If you lose on Sunday, that's 4 straight losses a week before the playoffs. You have got to get out of the quicksand, because what you don't want to do is be chasing a victory, like chasing your first victory in a few weeks, right? Like you have to win this game on Sunday. And I think you got to show up, because a lot of our listeners have already said this too. They say we play up to the level of competition, we play down to the level of competition. Well, Sunday is a Knicks playoff team. Knicks going to get a top 5 seed. There's no question about that. So when it talks about playing up to our competition, okay, we got to show up. We got to show up. We got to battle against the Knicks and prayerfully win that game, right? Because what we can't do is get out there and stink. If we get out there and stink, now you're in trouble, right? And again, we are in quicksand, whether or not you want to admit it or not. And it is 30 feet deep right now, because we are losing to bums. Now, I know some people, and even in the chat, people say, well, the Toronto Raptors are a talented team. Not according to wins and losses, right? Like, it might be a good team.
But 50 points. No,
Right. And so, I do think, and I think every game from here on out is a must win, because you until you get another dub, you have to get another dub. You can't, four straight a week before the playoffs, that's bad. That is bad, especially with who you're losing to. And it really doesn't get any easier after this week. That's the thing. It does not get any easier after this week.
Yeah, for me, it's the inconsistencies. Like, I'm never surprised with this Bucks team. Like tonight, like I wasn't surprised that they lost this game with the way they've been playing. I wasn't surprised that they lost the back-to-back to the Grizzlies. Like, and that's the problem. That's a problem, and you want to see them right that ship a little bit. So yeah, I guess I would say it's a must-win.
Must win. Must win.
I mean, that's like a playoff term, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
should
they win?
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Do they need to win for the hopes of their seasons? Yes, I think they need to win. But if they lose, I guess it still probably wouldn't be the end of the world.
I don't know if I say must win, because again, my thing is, because a must win, that means if Giannis still has a hammy, like Giannis. In the playoffs, Giannis got to play. You got a bad hammy, you got to go. Chris, you got a bad.
But you should still be able to find a way to win without Giannis playing against the Knicks on Sunday.
I hear you, but when I hear must win, that means all hands on deck. That's what that means. I don't care what you got going on. If you can walk, get your butt out there on the floor. Like, that's what when I hear this, we've got to win this at all costs. So I guess I would say I don't think it's a must win. But yeah, I would have thought tonight, like it's a game you should want to win this. You should go out and you should go out and coaching like this. This is one you can't experiment on this one. Like you should have a legitimate, like you should. I put it like this: a lot of times in the NBA, coaches don't game plan for teams. Like they just run their sets, run their stuff, and we're gonna run against whoever. Now you have some try hard teams that will go out and actually game plan every single night for every team. And now when I say game plan, I don't mean that you're not like, hey, this guy's a good shooter, we got to close out on him. I'm saying like legitimately, like how you would in a playoff matchup where you specifically game plan for a team. I would say, yeah, John, this is a game where I probably would. Tonight's Friday. Tomorrow, I believe they should be literally game planning to try to win. You shouldn't just be, hey, we're just going to work on our stuff. No, you should be. So I will say, I will admit that I think you should be going out there trying to find a way to win. In the chat, we got the chat. Q Money has been a couple takes he's had here saying that Drew is shooting better than Dame. Again, they're in different. I'm not going there. They're in different situations. Like Drew Holiday is in Boston as the 4th, 5th guy. Drew Holiday's basically like the Malik Beasley of the Bucks. Like, I mean, he's the guy that just, hey, we're gonna leave one guy open. It's gonna be him, and shoot the ball. And if you hit it, you hit. And so yes, Drew, and again, if you want to go by numbers wise, I know people are getting on Beasley recently, but numbers wise, Beasley's having a great year shooting from the three. If you take in totality the entire season, now again, he's in a slump right now. But if you just look at his entire season, no, Beasley's been playing very well. He's been the beneficiary of being open a lot because a lot of attention goes to Giannis and Dame. So no, Drew Holiday's in a different situation. So no, I'm not going there. And then the other question that he asked here is about whether the Bucks should trade Giannis. If this is a hot take, but if the Bucks lose, should we trade Giannis and rebuild for picks due to the fact we're old? No, absolutely not. Because if Giannis was 36, man, it's 30. Man, no, I'm not trading Giannis for anything in the world unless Giannis comes to me and says, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. And even then, I probably still wouldn't trade him. Let's go to the Twitter and see what they're saying there. At Drew Behringer says this roster was so poorly constructed by Horst, compounded by two terrible coaching hires. It's so plainly obvious that this is a lottery-bound team without Giannis. As for now, considering the last 5 opponents, the Bucks are in real danger of being a playing team. So this is stupid. They're not gonna be a playing team. Come on now. At AZip70 says zero end in sight to this disaster with Doc at the helm. He has to be fired after they lose in the first round. Let me stop there. Now, I didn't think that the Bucks would fire Adrian Griffin. So that I was wrong. I did not think that they would fire Adrian Griffin. I was right that they should not have. But do you think that if the Bucks lose in the first round, and Doc has a multi-year contract, do you think that Jimmy Haslam would open up the pocketbook one more time and say, we're going to pay another coach and we're going to get rid of Doc? Because again, listen, if the Bucks lose in the first round, there's no question it's a fireable offense. There's no question he should be fired. Will he?
But you know what, though? If the Bucks lose in the first round, I'm not even looking at Doc Rivers first. I'm looking at John Horst. That's who I think. That's who I think you got to call John Horst down to the carpet, and you got to say, "Hey, listen, this is the squad you put together. This is an absolute mess that we're looking at because of you. My payroll's going absolutely crazy because I'm paying 3 different coaches. Now I'm looking for a 4th. My team is old. You've made all these trades. We don't have a ton of draft capital. There's obviously the Dame Lillard trade. We're gonna assume that that's gonna hit, right? You've built a core, but when we got the Jay Crowder trade, and has he really lived up to that? And will we trade 5 second round picks for that? There's a lot of different moves, and then you talk about player development. Listen, we're drafting these guys. You're getting coaches that aren't developing them. We haven't hit on a draft pick. We haven't legitimately hit on a draft pick in a very long time. Obviously, Dante is decent now, but when he was here, that wasn't really working out. It was good today, awful tomorrow, then injury, right? So that's who I think his feet got to be held to the fire if we go out first round. That's the first person I'm looking at because, Doc's going to get a benefit of the doubt because he didn't have an offseason and he took over at the All-Star break. We've not seen that, right? I guess Cleveland, David Blatt, they got rid of him. His second season,
But the David Blatt thing is, and I know, but again, the David Blatt thing is, and that's what we talked about, JT. You don't make a move unless you know unless you have a real pivot. Ty Lue ain't walking through that door. Ty Lue, the Bucks. Joe Prunty wasn't Ty Lue, and so if you had a Ty Lue on the staff, 100%. Yeah. Sidney Dauber ain't Ty Lue.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Josh Oppenheimer ain't Ty Lue.
That's 100%. That's 100% true. But that's what I would say. I would say John Horst. That's whose seat needs to be scalding if this team gets bounced in the first round.
I think it's tough because I think somebody said it in the chat. You're paying 5 coaches and you still owe them all money. And, they do have deep pockets. They have the pockets for it probably. But I'm with JT. I think you got to look at the GM because you can obviously tell he's easily swayed by players or whatever that may be. Or maybe even it is the Haslams. But still, I think a lot of his decision making is based on other people. And that's just something that can end poorly. And I think it could.
So I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree that John Horst has to be considered, but to me, not for as much roster decisions, but for what he did coaching wise. And again, whether that's you listening to Giannis or not, as far as who made the decision and who that ultimately is going to fall on you because you made the decision. And again, I saw somebody. I think Colin Racine said Jimmy Haslam's been the issue. Jimmy Haslam doesn't do anything. He's just letting guys, like I think somebody else said, he's just opening a checkbook. The whole reason that you got to probably fire Adrian Griffin was because Jimmy Haslam was okay with paying another coach. But I do agree that John Horst has to be looked at. I hear people in the chat or see you talking about roster construction and those things. Again, my thing is when you get a Damian Lillard, when you have an opportunity to trade for Damian Lillard, you do it. I don't care what your roster looks like. So I can't fault John Horst for trading for Damian Lillard and then people saying, well, the roster didn't work. No, I agree. The roster is not optimally built. It is not built to optimization for Giannis and Dame. I agree with that. But did John Horst really have the time to do all of that? I mean, you would have had to have this in place. And I don't think John Horst really had the time to get it straight. Again, he got Dame in basically right before camp. So, I mean, and you have to trade for Damian Lillard. Like, you have to do it. And the hope, again, had to be that Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo were going to cover up the stink. Again, can you fault the GM? I don't know who the GM was in Brooklyn when they put together Kyrie, Harden, and Kevin Durant. Like, no, you can't fault them for doing it. Now, what did it make? They had a top-heavy team. They didn't have a lot of depth. And so you saw when James Harden got hurt, when Kyrie got hurt, everything fell apart. Now, again, the same thing. If anybody on that three gets hurt for the Bucks, they're cooked. They're done. If Chris Middleton turns an ankle, the Bucks are done because they are too top-heavy to withstand any kind of injury. But those are the cards you're dealt. And so I have a hard time blaming Horst for that. To me, the Horst issue came with the coaching decisions, and I agree on the talent on the developing young players. But that goes to coaching too. But again, John Horst is responsible for that. Yeah.
Well, hang on though, right? Because I'm not going to let Horst off the hook here. Because I was underwhelmed at the trade deadline, and I think a lot of fans were underwhelmed at the trade deadline too. Wait a minute, no, I'm not. I understand what you're saying, and I get you. You have to trade for Dame. I get that too. But you 100% could have made some additional moves at that trade deadline, and you chose not to. So you chose to roll with this roster knowing that it was flawed. And the only move you made was getting rid of the campaign for Patrick Beverley, which, yes, that moved the needle in some areas. But again, right, for the most part, you did not solve all your issues or a lot of your issues with this roster that you knew about long before the trade deadline. So I'm not willing to let John. Nah. We're not making these excuses for Horst. We're not just going to go ahead and let him off the hook there.
And you have the most picks in this upcoming draft than you've had in a long time. 2 picks. And that's crazy to say. Like, they really haven't. I mean, that's probably been a couple years or whatever, but still, like they're going to have to move with some urgency if they do put the blame on John Horst, because now you're going to have to bring in a whole new GM who's going to have to be at the forefront of selecting 2 new players. And if they look at John Horst's past draft classes and the guys that he's drafted, they may be underwhelmed, and they'll recognize that they have 2 picks coming up in this one, and they might need to make the move.
So we've talked about the picks thing before, and so we'll respectfully agree, disagree on some of the picks and what took place there. Again, now some were awful, some were bad.
Don't count.
But yeah, well, Dante's playing a very good ball right now. Again, some of that you have to develop your players, and again, some of the problem is if I give you guys Sam Merrill. And Sam Merrill's playing well in Cleveland right now, 2nd round pick, back after the 2nd round, and those guys don't get developed. Again, can you blame Horst for picking the coach? You can, but at the end of the day, those guys don't get developed, and that's not the GM's job to develop the players. That's the coaching staff that needs to do that.
Real quick, you got to think about the teams that they were on though. Like, these are guys who ended up having to go through multiple teams to eventually find their groove. That wasn't something in our timeline that we could stomach.
And
you know what I mean?
I agree. But again, that's what happens when you win and you're not picking top 10, top 15. You're picking guys back half, back 2nd round. Those are the guys you're picking. It's going to take a minute to develop them, but it also doesn't help when you don't. Why does it take 4 or 5 years? Because in their first 2 years with the Bucks, they don't do anything. So you don't develop them, and now their first time actually developing and playing, Like the first time actually getting a chance to do that is when they go somewhere else. But right. Well, but I want to go back to the other point about this year about the trade deadline. I agree. The only thing is I just don't, and again, I just don't have this information. I don't know I don't know, because again, it takes two to tango. You can want to trade all day long. I don't know. Again, the only almost definitive thing we heard was Grant Williams for Bobby Portis, and I could see why a 1-to-1 trade. I don't know that moves the needle. Like I don't know that swapping just a Grant. And again, I just don't know what else. I don't know what else was out there. I know there's some things that the Bucks want to do, but again, it does take two to tango. So I just don't. I don't know.
Were we ever in on DeJounte? Did anybody ever confirm that we were ever seriously considering?
Well, I think the Bucks were seriously considering, but again,
you ain't got nothing for him.
Well, you don't have anything. And two, it probably makes you feel worse if he moves somewhere else and you see, well, what did that other team take to trade for him? Atlanta Hawks didn't move him at all. So clearly, whatever they saw, they was like, hey, we're good off that. So I mean,
the same with Wiggins and Finney Smith. So I can see where
right. They don't go anywhere. Yeah. So again, think about it. There were only a couple wing level players that were even traded during the deadline. It was Patrick Beverley and Quentin Grimes. Like what other wing? No other wings went anywhere during the deadline that were of any type of importance. The only other, Royce O'Neal went to Phoenix, and I don't. So that was about it, right?
Yeah,
that was it. That was it. So okay. So anyway, so that's that. That's a good question from the Twitter there. Justin from NC says no worries. Let's just get to the postseason and see what happens. I think that's kind of what it is at this point. At 14 Coco Chick says time for the owners to pay for their fourth head coach and a new GM. At Kashaya Taj says our only shot this year is sitting Beasley and Crowder, playing the two young guns. Doc better do it. GA saw what they brought tonight and he better speak up. At Jay Horvath says I am out. I can read a couple more. At BSD Gazelle says there's nothing to talk about. This team just sucks. And then at Midrange Midi says one more. Doc's out here blaming staff and players, but not himself. And then at the Wisconsin Kid says this roster is hot ass, and Doc is Bud Jr. Am I the only one who saw this coming? So, yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of issues that are coming out of this basketball team, and it's just crazy, to try to figure out why this team is playing the way they are and what they need to do moving forward. Todd Merrill in the chat says, with that said, I would have seriously considered, and this is the thing, Todd. What's the man? What's it? Todd? Who did that? What's my man name? What's my man name from ESPN? Always be doing that on the draft.
McShay.
Yeah.
Todd McShay.
Well, no, but the dude that always like
him and Mel Kiper be going at it. Yeah, they was beefing for a minute.
Todd says, with that said, I would have seriously considered a Dame trade that included DeJounte and the dude from Nicolay and some picks. You talking about what's the man name from Atlanta? He is really good though.
Vit Krejci, is that him?
No, I thought he was talking about my man Jalen. Is that he's talking about Jalen Johnson?
Oh,
did Jalen Johnson go to Nicolay?
What's that? Oh, in Wisconsin,
the high school. Okay, yeah. But again, number one, I don't even know if Atlanta does that because again, they had stuff to do something with Trae Young, and two, yeah, I'm not trading freaking Dame for. Come on, man, I'm not doing that. And because James Johnson's not ready to play on a championship level team, so you're still setting yourself back there. Christopher M is talking crazy in here too, so I'm not gonna address that at all. What I do want to address this comment before we go to game balls. Jay Wan says Lopez would get destroyed by Embiid. I'd rather play the Heat or Pacers. Jay Wan, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know if you watched I watched basically all of the Heat Philly game. The crazy thing is, I actually turned it off and missed the ending where the Heat fell apart and lost the game. Joel Embiid had like 30 points. The man had 4 rebounds. Joel, I'm just trying to tell you guys. I watched that game. Joel Embiid can shoot the ball. He looks good. Joel Embiid right now, and again, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the next 5 games he'll magically pull it together. He looked like a finesse player. He does not want to go up and get. And in the playoffs, Joel Embiid is going to have to be 30. He's going to be 35 and 15. He is
Trey,
not. What's the
wait
problem?
just a minute. You saying Joel Embiid looks like a finesse player? What does Brook Lopez look like?
Well, no, but the difference is I'm not talking. You're talking about offensively. Brook Lopez defensively is not a finesse player.
Well, that's different.
He is a bruiser, and even though he doesn't really jump for rebounds, he is still a bruiser, and he's going to try to beat you up physically on the defensive end. Joel Embiid wants no parts of that. I'm just telling you, he wants no parts of that. And then Joel Embiid, we know that's like MVP Embiid is like 14, 15 rebounds if he's playing heavy minutes. I'm telling you, he's not that guy. He does again, unless something's gonna change the next 5 or 6 games and go into the playoffs. He has lost all of his physicality. So I don't know that at all. I really don't know that at all. And I think that again, we talk about Brook Lopez. If there's a matchup that Brook Lopez can actually play in and be on the floor and not be outmanned and outgunned, it's a series against Philadelphia and it's a series against the Denver Nuggets. And you only need the Denver Nuggets in the finals. And like that is to me, that is a very good series for Brook Lopez because he doesn't get played off the floor defensively. He like Joel Embiid's not running around and he can't just run around and outmaneuver Brook Lopez. Like they are both lumbering guys. So like I actually really like the matchup for Brook Lopez. I really do.
Lumbering guys. That's
lumbering is not crazy. Is that crazy?
Boy.
That's crazy. Lumbering.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be ideal because you've seen Brook play so terrible in the past couple of games and looks so slow. Like just and sometimes he doesn't even deserve to be out on the floor. So it would be ideal.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. And again, I'm telling you, Jay I'm telling you, I'd rather play the Pacers than the Heat. I'm telling you, if you play the Pacers, he cannot be on the floor. Like he can't. Like Brook Lopez gets played off the floor. So you have a guy that you literally cannot play.
Well,
that's
you know what?
When we talk about the Pacers.
So here's the thing. So the conversation that we had off air, we talked about it doesn't matter if we play the Heat, the Pacers, the Sixers. As of right now, I said it earlier. We cannot go down 2-0 to any of those teams. I am not confident that we can climb out of a hole against any of those teams the way we're playing right now. And what did you say was the most important thing?
Well, I think get 2-0 and you're the home team. Yeah, you're cooked.
You cannot lose your home opener.
I don't think you can lose. Yeah, I don't think you can lose the home opener. I really believe and I'm going to go in the playoffs and I don't care who the Bucks play. Like you said, Philly, Heat, Pacers. I don't care. I'm gonna go in with some optimism that the Bucks are gonna win the series against either one of those 3 teams.
Yeah, of course.
But if the Bucks lose, and again they are known to lose game ones.
They cannot.
Typically, they are able to get out of those holes. Yeah, I'm with you, JT. If they lose game 1, I am immediately going to think the series is likely. Oh, I don't know how. I would be definitely afraid if they lose one game in a series at all.
The home opener, definitely, yeah, because you're right. Because then the home field advantage at that point is cooked in that series, and that is not good. That's not good at all.
All right, let's go to game balls. Another man. This is the Bucks losing has brought out the long post game shows, and yeah, the worst of everything. And these long post game shows, we have to keep evaluating this stuff. I'd rather the Bucks win so we can end this thing. We can end these things early, but you know how that goes. Let's game balls. Who you got?
I'm gonna give it to Dame tonight. I'm gonna get a game ball to Dame tonight. I get that there may have been mistakes made, but I saw Dame try to put this team on his back. I saw Dame with a really strong third quarter. I saw Dame trying to make plays, trying to be, the lead dog tonight, which is what you expect from him. Unfortunately, he fouled out, but Dame for not playing basketball in a week. 10 for 24, 4 for 12 from 3, 36, 5 and 6. I'm gonna give it to Dame tonight.
That's crazy work. I will give it
nasty work.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know if you're just doing that for the stands or what, JT. I don't know. No, for me, look, I'll go with Gary Trent Jr. I thought he was sparking it from 3. He was playing hard. He was getting pretty much everything at will. He looked like a mismatch for a lot of Bucks defenders, and when he gets going, he can really score the basketball. So yeah, I'll give it to Gary Trent Jr. He's from Ohio too.
Q Money Adventure says giving it to Dame is crazy, bro. You gotta get your glasses checked.
Hey man, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Dame for as much as we've been all over him and coming back. I mean, I'm crediting him for some effort here, right? And I'm overlooking a few. I'm overlooking a few things here.
Well, I
I'll
say
admit
if you gonna go Bucks, I'm surprised you didn't go Ajax. And Jay Wan says Game Ball should go to the chat members for showing up. Yeah, Game Ball, it really should. We appreciate you guys showing up, showing out after a Bucks loss. 100%. Game Ball for me. I think I'm gonna roll with you, Chris. I'm gonna give it to Gary Trent Jr. 31 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 11 for 22 from the field, 7 of 15 from 3, hit some timely buckets. He was a plus 11 on the night. Yeah, he had a really, really good night. I think you could have given it to Emmanuel quickly as well. Almost had a triple double, 25, 11, and 9. So I mean, but either one of those guys, that's who I'm gonna give it to. D. Cole says Dame drops damn near 40 and y'all mad. You must talk to the chat. I wasn't mad. If that was Giannis, y'all would be eating. Okay. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. Like I said, if you know, okay, I'm not gonna get into it.
I would say, I would just say watch that stretch in the second quarter and then get back to me. But go ahead.
Right, and that's the thing.
The second was bad, but the third was better, right?
Okay.
The second was bad,
at the end of the third, at the front end of the third quarter, all he was doing was dumping it to Chris, and he was missing. Like that doesn't do anything for me. And
but still, go ahead.
And it's the impact. It's the impact moments that you know. And again, I know a turnover here, turnover there. You know, I get it and I understand. I know Giannis has some of those too. But again, Damian Lillard is the ball handler. You know, he's the one who is he's the point guard. So you got to be able to handle the balls.
All right, sir. Okay.
That's all there is to it. 117, 111. Let's look around the NBA. The Phoenix Suns are about to get another win. They're up 20 right now in the fourth over the Timberwolves. The LA Clippers are up big over the Jazz. The Portland Trail. Look, everybody beats the Wizards. 108-102, Portland beats the Wizards. The Pacers beat the Thunder tonight. The Hornets beat the Magic. The Celtics get a 1-point win over the Kings. Spurs beat the Pels. Grizzlies beat the Pistons. The Heat starting to creep up. They win 119-104. The Knicks lose tonight to the Bulls. So again, and Brunson, I'm looking at the stat. Brunson played 35, 11, and 6. And then Dante DiVincenzo shot a tour date tonight, 10 points on 12 shots. That's a big loss for. So again, talk about standings, and this thing can get really close. But both the Knicks and the Magic lose tonight, giving the Bucks some breathing room. And the Dallas Mavericks are now 47-30. That's interesting because that's the same record as the Milwaukee Bucks. And the crazy, I'm gonna give you another one. Again, you talk about who should be hiring coaches? Me. Another one. Because I told people, Jason Kidd's not that bad of a basketball coach. I never said he was the greatest coach in the world, but everybody tells me that he's the worst person to ever pick up a clipboard. That's what I was told. Jason Kidd was the worst person to ever pick up a clipboard. He should never coach again in the NBA. What does he just say? If Dallas was in the East, they'd be 2 seed right now. That's all. That's all Jason Kidd's done. Y'all, listen. I know what I be talking about. That's all I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about, man. Like, y'all got to cut it out. I'm just saying. And then, of course, in big news, the Iowa Hawkeyes look from what it looks like, the Iowa women, some would say the refs gifted them a win tonight. There was a bad call on UConn late in the game with the screen. I saw the screen. I think that the end of the game on that, I did see the screen. It does, by letter of the law, to me, it does look like an offensive foul. It's an illegal screen. I do think it was. Illegal. However, I didn't see how much time was left. I'm guessing it was like last possession.
Said 10 seconds down one.
Ooh, 10 seconds down one. I feel like I'm letting the players decide that, though. That's the only thing. I feel, and I do agree. It wasn't an illegal screen. I feel like you gotta let some of those. I feel like you gotta swallow the whistle there and let that thing go. Late in the game, I want the players to decide what happens on the court. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe in that principle though? That like late in games, like to me, it has to be
bit.
like
that. But that's, I mean, it's certainly putting you at an advantage if you're just getting screened illegally. Like that messes up the coverage. And who's to say they don't miss the shot anyway? So, my eyes and everybody's eyes should be that's illegal and you call it.
Okay. Yeah, man. Well, like I said, that's
JT,
I don't
what
have
you got?
any.
You think it's
I'll have to look at it for the
Oh, you
show
didn't see
tomorrow.
it?
I didn't. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Nah. I knew my parlay wasn't gonna hit. So like, forget it.
He said he knew his parlay wasn't going to hit. Ava Trek says she did decide it. She fouled.
Yeah,
If you fouled,
facts.
you decided it. I mean, in a way, yes, but like to me, it's like blatant, like what Bobby Portis did at the end of the game. Like it's like that, like that's something. Yeah, because you hate to call a technical foul in a 2-point game late in the fourth quarter, but when somebody pushes somebody clear after the whistle, you can't even argue that. Like I couldn't even get mad. Like because I mean, like I get mad. Okay, I'll give you one. The Giannis mean mugs after a dunk late in the game, and you call a tech. That's one. Hey, no, you gotta let that ride. You gotta by letter of the law, is it a technical foul? Maybe for taunting, sure, but you gotta let that go. So that's what I'm saying. That's kind of where I'm going with it. Bobby Portis pulling a guy full extension hand. 2 minutes to go, I have to call that foul. I can't even give you the benefit of the doubt. That's where I'm going with it. Whereas a screen is kind of, that's all. But yeah, that's all we got. Any other interesting things anybody wanted to get off the chest before we get up out of here?
Brandon Miller had 32 points on 13 shots. That's a sign of a great player. I think he's going to be tremendous. And he had 26 on 10 at half, so he really didn't score that much or shoot that much in the second half. I think he's going to be really good. That's another reason why you should listen to us. I was right about him from day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as he doesn't have a driver's license, he'll be all right.
Hey, come on now. Get them guns out of man's car. We'll be back.
He didn't know it was in there. Riding around with a hammer in the back, had no idea it was in there. He didn't.
Well, speaking of ride,
bring this.
They about to call you Malika Andrews, JT.
Clean your car. They're not calling me Malika Andrews. No.
But speaking of riding around, riding dirty, my man Rasheed Rice, right?
Rasheed Rice. Wow.
Well, but here's the thing, and I saw the video. How many guys jumped out of the car with him? You don't have a fall guy? You don't have a fall? You don't? How is? I'm just. How does the press conference? Our bad. Our guy was riding around with. No, he was in the back seat. Somebody's got to take the fall for that, dog. Somebody has to take the fall.
It was
too many guys.
I just don't understand, especially if you're dumb enough to be driving around and doing that, right? And then obviously, I don't know if they said they found what they say they found, like
they were about 11 grams, but that was actually incorrect. That because in what state was he in when he did? Where was that?
He was in Texas.
He was in Texas. In Texas, you can have up to, I believe you can have up to 2 ounces. So that was gonna be that's not a felony.
Either way, it's just like, yeah, I agree with you. Nobody talked about this before when this happened. Like, hey, you gonna say you was driving? I got you. I'm gonna take care. Like, I have no idea. What an absolute mess, right? Now, here's the thing I don't understand. Were both cars owned by him?
That I don't know.
Because I know they said didn't there was a report that came out that the Lamborghini was leased by, or at least they're owned by him, and I think the Corvette was too. Well, I was trying to figure that out. I was like, now you're being really dumb because you got both your vehicles out there and your name is all over it. It's going to be either way.
Who else is going to buy him?
Well, no, but I think he may have been with other football players. Is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
I don't know who I was in. I don't know. It was a gang of people that came out the car.
That's what I'm saying. And there were like numerous different cleats in both cars. One of the witnesses said one of the witnesses said they had cleats and guns coming out the cars and everything too. And I was like, wow, they wild. Like, wow, they wild. And then cleats, guns, and then for the trifecta, there's the marijuana. I'm just like, oh, there we go, guys. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I guess my take on it is just like, man, you just had like one of the best rookie seasons in the NFL, and you just won a championship, and it's just like that's like the last thing that you can do is just like maybe get suspended for a couple games for the dumbest thing, like something that you could totally control by just showing your IQ. Let's not race with
Right.
with guns and weed in the car. Not even just that, or at the speed that they did that at on the highway. So yeah, I just think it was a very stupid decision. He's on my dynasty fantasy league team, by the way. So I had I had to put him on my trade block and then take him off after he apologized, because I still love him on my team, but I just he's got to learn.
Last one, and we'll wrap this thing up. Bronny James. Thoughts on Bronny James. He's entered the draft. I guess he's entered his name into the draft, but he has also entered the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I guess he's going to be he wants to be evaluated. Do you think? So, a couple questions here on this. I don't see anything wrong with entering your name and getting evaluated. We'll see if he actually declares for the draft. Do you think that he goes into the draft? And then two, if he does, is this like, I would think that's a clear indication that next year's it for LeBron James. I would feel like that. The only reason to me that Bronny James would enter into the draft this year would be to play with his pops. And I think that would have to mean that Bron wants him on his team. It'll be a very cool moment. Has that ever happened in the NBA where fathers play with son on the same team? I don't think has it ever happened in the NBA?
Way. No.
Now, I know it happened in baseball. Didn't King Griffey Jr.
Right. But you can play baseball till you're 45.
Yeah, well, true.
50 years
well,
old.
And LeBron has proven that maybe you can play basketball till you're into your 40s. But yes, so true. But yeah, like I would think that would almost to me be the signal if that happens. It would be a cool thing. And again, LeBron, they got money, so it's not like he got to really do that. I did see another take on that, which was like, I don't know if it was Gilbert Arenas to them or no, it was Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague said that, and I don't know that I agree with this. I want to get your take on this, Chris, especially that like Bronny James just isn't a college, like he's a pro level player. Like somehow, and I didn't understand it. He's like somehow he's better suited for the pro game than the college game because he doesn't score like a pro. Like I didn't get that take, but like I think that was some glazing for LeBron glazing from Jeff Teague. But what do you make of all of that situation with Bronny James?
So I don't have an issue with him declaring for the NBA draft, but I think it's going to be a quick take that ass back to school. Just based off what I've seen, right? Because he's a 3-and-D guard, really not all that tall or long for a wing, right? And he's not a ball dominant guard at all. So I think that's some of the things they're going to tell him to work on is just bring something else to the table because one, you're undersized. Yeah, super athletic kid, but that's you've got to have a different package to your game and add some more to your game offensively than just shooting and getting into the NBA off of 36% from the field and 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Like that's just I just don't see it cutting it. But there have been instances where nepotism has worked in the NBA recently. Kostas got drafted, Giannis's brother, for no absolute reason. I think he averaged like 5 points at Dayton. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does get in there on like a two-way or something. But what I think is best for him as a player, go somewhere where they'll put the ball in your hands. Go somewhere where you'll play more than 20 minutes or 15 minutes a game. Make it look a little prettier on the stat sheet. And there will be opportunities to do that in the transfer portal. So I think that's his best interest to just go back.
Well, so I think the thing is about USC is you just hired Eric Musselman, who I think did a tremendous job at Arkansas. You know, given the climate, right? I thought Eric Musselman did a decent job at Arkansas, and he may have an impact at USC. The problem is you're going to the Big Ten, where you may instantly be the worst team in the Big Ten from a basketball perspective. It may work out in football, but basketball is a long way to go. Now, the other thing about this though with Bronny James, I think this is going to be a business decision any way you split it. Because I do think he gets drafted. Now, is it in the back of the second round? Is it somebody taking a flyer there? Because I believe LeBron James Sr. has a player option, and he can opt out of his player option with the Lakers. I think that's right. I believe LeBron James Sr. has a player option coming out of coming out of this year. And so my point is that if it's a business decision, I think he does get drafted because a team like the Wizards, who has absolutely nothing to play for, zero hope. They are hot garbage. They're trying to get a new stadium. They're having trouble getting people to their stadium. Would they have NC State? Trey, you said last show, NC State won more games in the Washington Wizards arena than the Washington Wizards did all year. I 100% could see a team like the Wizards saying, you know what? Let's get Bronny James in here. We'll get his dad in here. Hopefully we get a 2-year deal, right? We'll sell some tickets, maybe some buzz. Maybe we'll attract a few free agents to make our team a little bit better for a couple years. Why not, right? And I definitely think, especially in that second round, I bet all bets are off. All bets are off anyway. Half those guys don't even make it, end up in the G League anyway. So why not?
Yeah, well, real quick, I don't know why a team like the Wizards would draft him based off – you're going to have way more better options than that can actually impact your franchise for more than 2 years. I think that's – everybody in the draft is looking for something more long-term than 2 years. So I don't know if he'll necessarily even get drafted, to be honest.
The other thing, though, and what we're ignoring here, what do the medicals look like? Because he got cleared to play college basketball, but these NBA teams, before they invest millions of dollars in a player, you're going to have to be looked at by NBA doctors. And that's a question that you really want to ask here is, are there questions about the long-term viability of his heart and of what's going on here? That's something that I don't think anybody's ever even thought about is what does that physical look like? And does the medical records give teams pause here in Bronny James too? And does that shrink the potential pool of teams he can go to? Because Dr. A may say, no, there's no way we could do this. And Dr. B may say, well, all right, well, maybe we do, maybe this can work.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that, again, and somebody said it in the chat here, if the Nassas can get on a team, then Bronny James can get on a team. And so it's same kind of effect to me. Yes, he can make a team. Will he get drafted? I don't know about that at all. And I don't think they're going to invest. Again, but could I see the Lakers, we say, invest the millions to keep LeBron around for another year, keep LeBron? Yeah, LeBron has won a championship with LA. I could see him. I could see that. Now, the only two places I can really see LeBron, I can only see two places where this could happen. It's either Cleveland or LA. Those are two scenarios I could see Bronny James and LeBron linking up and LeBron doing one more year, like that. Otherwise, no. And, Bronny's not he's just not an NBA level player right now. Again, I don't know that he ever will. I don't even know that there are bad players that are out there. And it's so funny because, like, if you name, like, the bad players, like, most of them probably have better careers than Bronny James in college. But, yeah, in theory, could he get out there and run up and down the court? Sure. I take him over Danilo Gallinari. I'll tell you that right now. So, who knows? So yeah, that's how I feel on that. Okay, well let's get out of here. Any final thoughts? The Bucks losing. Give me your final thoughts. Anything else on the Bucks losing 117-111 to the Toronto Raptors?
Again, playoffs. I just hope we win a game. All right, guess another one. At this point, right, we are in the quicksand. And I know you don't believe it, but we are. We have that. You just read the stat. Being that heavily favored, we lost 3 times in a row to awful, awful, awful teams. And we should be playing our best basketball right now. And right now, we just look like we're finding ways to lose. So, yeah, I'm treating Sunday in my mind as a must-win because I think it certainly needs to be. And if Sunday's not, then Tuesday has to be. This is ridiculous, guys. We are in free fall right now, and I didn't think we'd get here, but we're here. So, doc, find a doctor. Got to do something. Malik Beasley, go find Larsa. I'm telling you, when he was messing with Larsa, he was averaging like 20 points per game. So, listen, he needs to go find her. She's now single.
Disappointing and shocking that you actually lost this game, especially after the last couple of two. We uploaded a video where it would be embarrassing to lose this one, and we lost it. So yeah, I'm embarrassed at this one, and you've got to tighten it up. You've got to clean it up. The guys have to start knocking down shots. I think that's most important. But you've got to find some fluidity on offense. You got to move the ball, be unselfish, and you got to play like a playoff team come Sunday. So, and then also Trey, I see you. You're really dedicated to the role because you got the at Cream City in the background. But I don't know. I don't know if you had enough letters for crossover.
Yeah, I gotta buy some more. I gotta buy some more of these letters. But yeah, we may have that we may debut the entire thing for the playoffs. Yeah, man, I'm with you all, man. Like it's disappointing. It's embarrassing. Todd Merrill says, "I can't believe you guys are shocked." I don't. I'm actually with Todd. I'm not. I don't think I'm shocked that they lost. I think, and I almost put some money on the plus 15. I think it was plus 14. I almost put some on that but I did think the Bucks were going to win. I really did, and so it's rough. And so the Bucks, like you said, John, they're going to come back on Sunday. We'll see if they can get a win over the New York Knicks. And you talked about Tuesday. That Tuesday is a game against the Boston Celtics. Now, Boston's been known to rest some people. I wouldn't be surprised if they do rest a couple guys because they're in a position to where they can do that. But the Bucks need. I'm not saying like certain games are a must win. But again, against the Knicks, a team that we'll go over it one more time. You are right now 2 games ahead of the New York Knicks for 5th in the East. You lose that game, it's a 1-game difference, and then you'd be a half game closer to being down to holding off Cleveland for the 3 seed. Winning that game. So let me tell you. So let me just say this Sunday, beating the Knicks on Sunday would almost guarantee you that at the very least you're not going to be the 5 seed. That's the difference, and that's a full game difference. You would then be 3 games up on the New York Knicks if you win that with like 5 games to go. It's almost an insurmountable lead if you can do that.
So that's a material impact on Sunday's game, making it a must win.
Should
win.
Should win.
I'm just saying.
So yeah, there is some of that there. A must do is what everybody in the chat needs to do tomorrow, 10 to noon. I gotta confirm it on 10 to noon tomorrow. Is there anything? I know basketball is not on till evening,
like
right?
6.
Yeah,
okay, so yeah, I think we're good from 10 to noon Central Time tomorrow on your T's and Q's on 97.3 The Game and worldwide at iHeartRadio. Check us out. Join us there. Like I said, in the iHeart app, or if you're local in Milwaukee, 97.3. We will do all your T's and Q's. And then, of course, we'll talk about this Sunday. We'll have the Monday Bucks and 60 show. But for right now, man, we appreciate all the likes, the follows, subscribe. Chris the Content King. Make sure that you guys are, like I said, just pushes out some great content for us. So we appreciate that. Again, we appreciate all of you. We appreciate our sponsors, as always, the law office of Daily M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
Off the court, call my guy, Daily M. Johnson, 608-893-8370.
70.
Highly recommended by the guru, Trey Crossman III. Let's see, man. This has been again, check us out. We'll be back. So it's Saturday, on your T's and Q's. Sunday, be back for the New York Knicks game. Check us out after every single game. We are right here live talking Bucks. It's going to be a fun ride to the end. It's bumpy, but it's going to be a fun ride to the end of the season. And hopefully we're with you till June, man. That's the goal, is that we're going to be riding these shows out till June because we enjoy it. And I know you guys enjoy it too. So again, we appreciate you guys for listening, joining us at a 117-111 loss to the Toronto Raptors, and you guys joining every night. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend about the Cream City crossover. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Hey, man, if we are your enemy, it is only because we dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no with Nichols. Courage.